In 1975, a Hollywood actress walked into a refugee camp in California and accidentally started one of the most successful immigrant small business networks in American history. Her name was Tippi Hedren. You might know her from Hitchcock's The Birds. She wasn't there to start a business. She was visiting Vietnamese refugees who'd just fled after the fall of Saigon, and at a camp called Hope Village, she noticed something small. The women there kept staring at her manicured nails, so she did something almost absurdly modest about it. She flew in her own personal manicurist and taught about 20 of those women how to do nails professionally. 20 women. That's the entire seed of this story. Now, you'd expect me to say, and that's why there's a nail salon on every corner in America, and move on. That's the tidy version most people tell. But 20 women training in a refugee camp in 1975 doesn't get you to thousands of salons 50 years later. Something else had to happen for that seed to actually grow. Two things, specifically. In 1974, the electric nail file hit the market. In 1979, acrylic nails did too. Both made the trade dramatically faster to learn and cheaper to perform. You needed weeks of training, not years. Combine that with something Vietnamese-American communities leaned on heavily, tight family and community networks. And those 20 women didn't just open 20 salons. They trained their relatives, their neighbors' relatives, and the trade spread across the country almost like a franchise that nobody actually owned. Today, an estimated 35 to 40% of all nail salons in the U.S. are Vietnamese-American owned. In California, that climbs to roughly 80%. More than half of all nail technicians nationwide are Vietnamese-American, and the overwhelming majority of techs of any background are women. Nobody fully agrees on exactly how many salons exist. Estimates put nail-only salons somewhere north of 100,000 and the broader combined hair and nail category around 1.3 million businesses nationally. Either way, a lot. Which brings us to the real question. How does an industry with that many competitors packed that densely actually survive? Part of it is that it's cheap to get into, and manicures are the kind of recurring purchase people don't easily cut. Low barrier to entry plus steady demand equals a flood of new owners. Flood a market that hard and you get a very human response. An owner looks at what the salon down the street charges and prices $5 cheaper. Then the place down the street from them does the same. Repeat that a few hundred times and you get a genuine race to the bottom. Something industry analysts have literally called a blueprint for failure heading into 2026 because costs don't fall the way prices do. The math underneath is brutal. Labor alone eats close to half of a salon's expenses. Rent runs 8 to 15% of gross revenue, or $400 to $1,500 a month for a single booth. Technicians usually keep 30 to 60% of what they bring in on commission, though a hybrid base plus commission model is becoming more common heading into 2026. Once rent and labor cross about 70% of revenue, there's basically no margin left. The result, a typical independent owner, carrying all the risk, signing the lease, responsible for every paycheck, takes home something like $40,000 to $80,000 a year. Real talk, I'm curious. How many of you have a regular nail tech? Do you know how they're actually paid? Do you tip in cash or on the card? And have you ever wondered where that tip ends up? Tell me in the comments, because here's the uncomfortable part. That same margin squeeze has, in documented cases, pushed owners into illegal territory. New York Times reporting found workers paid below minimum wage industry-wide, some made to pay their employer just for the ability to work there. In 2024, the Department of Labor found violations at a Rhode Island salon so severe the owners paid $753,500 in back wages and damages. And at the other end of the scale, owners of a nationwide chain of 60-plus salons pleaded guilty to running a cash payroll scheme. Over $116 million in unreported wages between 2016 and 2024, and an estimated $32 million in unpaid taxes. This isn't really a story about villains, it's a structural trap. The same forces that made this industry so accessible, cheap to start, fast to learn, built on community trust, are the same ones now squeezing owners and workers until some break the law just to keep the lights on. 20 women, taught in a refugee camp, built one of the most self-sufficient immigrant industries in the country. Now that industry is proving just how hard it is to stay afloat once everyone on the block is doing exactly what you're doing, one door down.